Hello, everyone. Welcome to Connecting People, Changing Lives. My name is Karen Glasser, and I'm here with my amazing cohort and co-host, Nancy Ferrari. Good morning, Nancy. How are you today?
I'm doing just peachy keen. We are almost in summer, and hence I think that's why we're all wearing these light colors and getting excited for all that. And we couldn't have a better guest because we're going to be talking about all things that are good for us, and if things aren't quite operating the way we want them to, how we can make that shift. So I am really, really excited to introduce all of you viewers to Christine Hardy. I had the pleasure, both Karen and I had the pleasure of not only seeing her on stage, but meeting her, and she impressed us so much that we wanted to share her and her expertise with you. Christine is a highly sought after keynote speaker, a published author, and holds a master's degree in nutrition. That's your first tip. What are we going to do? Take care of our nutrition. Last year, she released her first book, Unlock Your Victory Code, The Key to Hope, Perseverance, and Triumph. Her second book, The Inspired Life, will be released this year in September 2015. For the past 15 years, Christine has maintained a thriving metabolic typing and hormone balancing practice in the San Francisco Bay Area. She specializes in helping speakers with stamina and rapid recovery. I love that. Entrepreneurs out there are going to be tuning into that. Her success as an award-winning competitive gymnast for over 15 years. Can you say high performance? Clinical nutrition expertise and mastery of the inner game formula with her books. Christine successfully helps you rock the stage and unleash your full potential. So with that said, I warmly welcome you, Christine, to Connecting People, Changing Lives. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Karen and Nancy, for having me. This is so fun.
Well, we're delighted that you're here, and I just have to ask a question. What is metabolic typing? I have no idea what that
is. You jumped right into the.
Yeah, like, what is that?
What the heck is that? Oh. It's actually a system of balancing your metabolism, but it's through foods that are genetically right for you. So it's been around for 120 years. It's pretty remarkable. And it's testing that I'm doing in my office so that people can figure out what foods they need each day. We often wonder, well, what the heck should I be eating? I'm eating healthy food but not getting results. So what meats, what types of fish, what types of different proteins, vegetables, fruits, really gearing that towards you. And that brings you up to that high performance of, wow, I'm really going to rock the stage because my body's at 100% genetically. Awesome.
Yes, that really caught my attention because I had a food sensitivity workup. I can't remember the full long name of it, but I think you know what I'm talking about. That number one, we're not cookie cutters. We're not the Stepford wives. We're not. I may be an OC wife, but
right.
There we go. No, but seriously here, that the pineapple would be great for you, but not for me. Just because it's a fruit, that doesn't mean that we all metabolize it the same, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. You hit it right on the head. Perfect. Yep.
Is this done through blood work or?
There's clients.
I'm fascinated by
Give
this.
me the info. Clients come into my office, and it's done through urine, saliva, yes, blood testing as well. It's a 2-hour metabolic testing that's very simple. It's all done in office, and as soon as that 2-hour session is done, you know exactly what your food panel is. I mean, there's no waiting. It's all immediate.
Wow. I had to wait. And I'm not too fond of saliva tests either because you've got to do that at home, then go to the UPS store while it's frozen, get it shipped off. Is your method a little different?
It is, and that sounds like the hormone test because with hormone testing you do need to do that. But the metabolic testing, this is unique in that it can be done all in office, all in one step. We have medical doctors throughout the United States doing this, but it's still not as common, even though it's been around for so long. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you captured my attention because I we all talk to a lot of people, and women especially are really frustrated. You know, I'm working out like a fiend. I'm watching what I'm eating. But then again, I heard yesterday, you could be eating healthy, but you could be having a salad this big. That's too much. And so that's the importance of working with you to finally to understand how you can make that shift. And therein lies the reason why you're here with us today, because knowledge is power. Now, I live in the Southern California area. Karen's a little closer to you up there in San Francisco. So if there's a viewer out there going, wow, I really want to do that, but I don't know anyone out here, can you help people remotely?
You know, I can, not with the metabolic typing. I do have a virtual series specifically for speakers, which rocks. But the metabolic typing, it has to be done with a practitioner in your city. So there's actually a link that I could send out that shows everybody in their surrounding city, and they can call and see if, you know, all the way across the United States to see who can do the typing for them.
I see. So as Karen and I are, visible in what we do within media, and I know Karen's had quite a fascinating career of traveling back and forth across the country and knows what that can do to your body. Share how you work with speakers as to their, nutritional plan, if you will, and to have that sustained energy.
Absolutely. I start with the metabolic typing. I live them and be with them and do the testing in their home. I do that a lot to make sure that they have the proper fuel, because that's the building blocks. They can be feeling like they're eating healthy all day long, but if it's not right for them, they're not going to get the high performance that they're going to get doing the metabolic typing. So I do start there. It's very different than asking, what do you eat every day? Because this is a whole different dynamic. And it's great to have this tool. And then I also speak to them about hormones as well, because there's a lot of vitality in our hormones that we're not aware of, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I like to clear the air and make sure that they're basically 100% metabolically.
So I'm curious about your journey, how you got to where you are today. You were a gymnast, an award, or I guess it's an award-winning gymnast, right? What did you? I'm just curious. What did you do as a gymnast? Were you on the high bar? Were you? What did you do?
Spinning.
I was everywhere. I love gymnastics, and at the age of 7 is when I got my first medal. So I was actually training for the Olympics when I quit 15 and a half years later. And I took gymnastics very seriously, and that had a whole diet that went along with that. So I have a family background of why I'm really into this business, but that was definitely a major part of my life that kept me interested and kept me going, because I had to know what fueled me for high performance, right? So I have that whole aspect, and speakers don't realize that they really are high performance. Immune system drops when they're on stage. They're around a lot of people. They're exhausted from traveling, even if it's 2 hours away. It's just, how do you keep up with that? So being able to kind of know the inside track on that on a athletic level, but also speaker level, has been huge, really helpful.
Yes, and a word that comes to mind too is having clarity and focus within your mental state, because I know when I'm dragging, the presentation's not going to come out. That's why I do a morning show. I don't do my radio, my podcast or webcast.
Good idea.
Evening. No, I'm at my best. Is there some truth to the fact that I heard this somewhere, that we're at our best based on the time that we were born? Is that already locked into our DNA?
That's interesting. I was born at 9 a.m. in the morning, and I'm a morning person. Nancy, when were you born? What time were you born?
8:45 a.m.
Christine, when were you born?
I was born at the crack of dawn at 5, so I don't know. We're all morning, right?
Yeah.
We're all here in the morning.
I am not a good night networker. I am not an effective evening networker, because my mind is tired. I start waking, I do have my routine and all, but once I get going, I'm going full throttle, in the morning. That's when I'm most productive. So you mentioned hormones, and Karen and I actually did one of our episodes with Kim Castle, who was very vulnerable with her adrenal fatigue and, tired and wired and all of that. So especially for our female viewers out there, when do you start noticing that something's, especially with fatigue, what's the first step to take?
Start noticing in their 30s. Without even realizing it, though, because I have clients that come to me in their late 20s, early 30s, and they just say, I'm tired. I mean, I'm this young, and I'm tired. So I think it starts earlier than they think. We're just becoming more aware of it as a society and saying, okay, this is not okay. So I always talk to them about their adrenals. I mean, that's number one. She's right. I mean, they are your energizer. So with hormone testing, the adrenals are included in that because your adrenals are your lifeline, and they produce your hormones. So if the adrenals are tired, you're not going to wake up. You're going to constantly be needing that cup of coffee to jolt your adrenals to drive every single day, and it just becomes a horrible cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Is hormonal happiness possible?
It is, and I've lived it. It's unbelievable. So at the age of 20, I was diagnosed with menopause. If you can believe that at 20 years old,
let me clear the hair out of my eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
I just hear that.
Yes. I was actually diagnosed with menopause, yes. Yeah, so I was a gymnast. I wasn't producing body fat, and you need fat to make hormones. And so I went to a holistic doctor. I will never forget this. She sat across the table from me, and she said, honey, you are clinically a 50-year-old menopausal woman. I had the hot flashes, the night sweats, my hair was falling out, I was tired, my joints were aching. I mean, anything and everything that you could think of that comes with menopause, I had that and more. So since that age, I have been educating women about all of this. They think I'm crazy, but whenever I educate big groups of women, I start with that story so they understand that I was able to correct those hormones and know how to work with women. And so that's what I've been doing. They're just not getting answers. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was older when I went through all that, but I can only imagine. And I've always been fascinated with gymnastics and watching. In fact, you look very familiar to me. I bet I saw you on TV in some competition at some point. But to maintain,
I traveled.
Yeah, I'll bet you did more globally. Yeah. I'm sure. And so you understand. And I believe when we had our conversation, I was saying, well, for how young you are, you know so much. And I don't think you brought that by me because I would have definitely remembered it. But that's
no.
you so relatable to women of all ages. So right. My question to you is, once you digested that information, what did your doctor do for you? What? And here you got your master's in nutrition, so you're all everything's right. Insane. But now you're the subject.
Right. I like the way you put that. And I actually found out that I was menopausal before. I was actually going through my nutrition degree at that time, so it just, the way it happened was pretty amazing. But she was really gentle with me, and because I was so young, she didn't do a lot of hormonal support at that time. It was more foods and more herbs, and she even let me work in her office to pay off the test.
Wow, so, that's really nice.
It was an awesome arrangement. I was basically a kid to her in this new world, but it dove me into the books, and I learned metabolic typing from a doctor, and he specialized in hormones and cancer. And so I got just hands-on with women of every age. It was just the most amazing education. So I feel like I should be 100 years old, for all the experiences that I've had and information. It's really a gift. I've accepted it as a gift.
It is.
Well, sometimes I feel like I'm 100 years old.
But you look great for all that.
So let's talk about some of the things that people can do today. What's one thing that somebody could do today to recover quickly, or more quicker, if that's a word, quicker, day in and day out? What's one thing that people could do?
Absolutely. So what I find is that when we're done with our day, we're exhausted, we grab for a glass of wine. We may sit on the couch, we may eat foods that are right for us, and it doubles our recovery time because the body says, hey, I'm already down and out, and now you're throwing me punches. How do you expect me to recover from this? So I think the vital part that's so simple to do, but simple not to do, is to ensure that when you come home from your day, you're refueling with enough water, you're eating healthy food. Instead of sitting in front of the TV for 2 hours, you're going for at least a 10, 15-minute walk. Something to break up the energy to basically rebuild your body, because the trend is that we're just breaking it down day by day and wondering why we're dragging more and more. It's like the compound effect.
But like after that, can you have your glass of wine? I just wanted to.
She lives in wine country.
I live in wine country, you know.
Well, it is the number one question I get. It's
yeah. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. What you're saying makes an absolute lot of sense, and this is a great tip. So our listeners, you know, these are some things that you can do starting today, right? Starting today.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, one thing I learned from you, Christine, because I had the pleasure of watching you speak on within another networking group, is that you recommended smart water with the electrolytes. Now, I drink Kangen water. I'm passionate about water and how it has helped my health issues that still continue, but I think I'm far ahead of the game. But you mentioned how important that is, and then you can add certain, not I don't say ingredients, but to give you that natural boost. So now we're entering the hot summer months. Share more about that, because I don't think people still really get it, how important it is to be hydrated.
That's great, Nancy. And they really don't. They're really concerned about being acid or alkaline. Like I know the Kangen machine is more alkalinizing depending on the setting that you have it on. I absolutely understand that machine and how you can absorb more water with it. It's phenomenal. But the electrolytes are essential minerals that are produced by the adrenals. And when the adrenals are depleted, you don't produce those minerals. And so what happens is that your cells basically start to go to sleep, because those minerals are basically the turn-ons. They literally turn you on so that the cells can communicate, and they lock the water in the cells. So if you think about it, it's like an athlete. Why do they survive on Gatorade? You don't just see regular water out there on the court or on the football field. They would not be able to physically have the stamina to even, I don't know, finish that whole quarter. I'm thinking about the Warriors in my head tonight. They wouldn't be able to, because the hydration would be so lacking. Their body would go fatigued and they would shut off. Well, so you kind of have to think about it like an athlete.
Yeah, and it's interesting you're saying that, Christine. I don't know if you mentioned the Warriors. Steph Curry, he actually, at the end of the game, they were concerned for him at the last game because he was dehydrated.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It makes you or breaks you. It really does. It's so simple not to do, but what you'll find at any health food store, even Safeway, they've branded their own basically smart waters. And you can always up the ammo on those by adding little trace minerals that you can find in a vitamin section at any health food store, or even emergency if you're feeling extra tired that day, or you've been through an emotional stress. Maybe someone's died, your adrenals shut down, your mineral production shuts down. I mean, it's just amazing how vital it can be, even if it's just a glass of it a day.
Mm-hmm. Well, is it true? I reminded my husband that you do need to drink half your body weight in water. He goes, just get me the bucket then. That's a lot. I mean, my husband's not a big guy, but I mean, he's 6'1" and, good shape and all, but still, it's a lot of water. But both Karen and I, I've got this is not Starbucks, this is my 9.5 water. I've got it with me wherever I go. I don't want to, and that's what they say. And this is an interesting observation, because my in-laws, Dominic, my husband, was born and raised in San Francisco, and with you being there, it's cooler than down here, foggy. They drink when they're thirsty. Not they all, but some. And I try to gently say, you're already dehydrated. You don't want to hit them over the head with a hammer on that one, but that's what people need to realize. Just because you're living in a fog bank, you still need water.
So what is the rule of
Right.
thumb for water? I mean, we just heard half your body weight. Is there a rule of thumb? And if it's smart water, does it mean you drink less, you drink more? What is the rule of thumb for this?
Great point, Karen. And thank you for bringing that up. Fluid water, you can drink more water because you're getting hydrated almost half as quickly. So if you are supposed to drink 8 glasses of water a day, you could potentially drink 5 or 6, depending on how your day goes and your diet. Of course, there's a lot of factors, how much you exercise, etc. So there are gauges online to figure out what is the right amount of water for you. But I honestly think it completely shifts every single day. I mean, I drink 6 to 8 glasses of water. I think that that's typical for anybody. But if I exercise more, I'm going to have a couple glasses. You know, it's just, you have to be more in tune with your body. Maybe get the basic gauging of what your body weight is divided by whatever the formula is. I don't really go by it because everyone's so different. This gets back to the metabolic typing. Everyone's so unique, and they try to fit us into everyone this age and this height needs this much. So that's my personal viewpoint on it. But some people need to feel safe and have some kind of, you know, way to gauge it, and then figure it out depending on how much you're exercising or not exercising for that day. Just for example. Again, the smart water, you can drink less, which is awesome.
Right, right. And so what's your thought about all these diets that are out there? You know, the Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Jenny Craig, and then the people who say calories in, calories out, exercise. I mean, if people don't go to a nutritionist and they are trying to take care of themselves on their own, are any of these diets worth a look? Or is it your suggestion that it's just eating healthy, more vegetables, more, you know, that kind of thing?
Right, and I'm biased on that because when you do the metabolic typing, you figure out what foods are right for your body. You don't overeat because you're satisfied. You're getting exactly the right amount of vitamins and nutrients your body specifically needs. And that's what happens. People go on a diet because they just want to control the bad foods that they're eating. That's usually what it is. So I always tell people I've never calorie counted. If you're eating healthy and you know 100% that it's healthy, you know what's healthy and what's not, and I'm not sure why we're rushing to all these different diets. I think it's really a matter of needing to be in a center with other people, more like a support system, because there's underlying factors, and that's why I wrote the book, Victory Code, because it's really about, most of the time I'm finding, what's eating the person versus what they're eating. And I think that that's powerful.
Yes.
Most of my sessions are turning into more of a counseling session.
So, Christine, I need you to say that again because that's a great, great statement.
That's a great.
And I'm going to put it in the spreadsheet.
Tweetable. That's what Oprah would say. That's a tweetable.
Yes.
tweet.
Basically, what's eating you?
What's eating you?
We could talk about Prometheus.
Yes.
There's a mythology.
But that's the whole thing. It really is. And that was the book that I wrote. My grandfather died at 37. He dropped dead at 37 years old of a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
And the book was formulated around, you know, what if he was alive? What if he was able to get to the root of why he became so obese in such a short period of time? And basically dug his own grave, unfortunately. My family learned a lot from that, which is basically where I came from a couple years after he passed. But it's really what's eating the person. Probably 90% of the time when clients come into the office or on the phone, it's about what's going on in their life.
Wow.
What's not aligned in their life that's causing them to eat what they're eating. They don't make that connection. So it's very interesting, but powerful.
Yeah. You have another book coming out, as Nancy mentioned. It's called The Inspired Life. And what is it about?
The Inspired Life is basically the quotes that are out of my Victory Code book, but it's more like in a gift form. So the Victory Code book is a workbook because I want people to do the action steps. There's lines in there for them to write. I want them to move through their issues or concerns, to move through the other side. The Inspired Life, again, is more of a pocketbook. It's a regular size book, but it's inspirational quotes each day with a little bit of give as far as interpretation of what that could mean for that person that day.
Well, we certainly could always use that at any given moment. And you mentioned something quite a while ago, how life today moves much faster. And we are in a digital world. In fact, the other day, Karen said, Nancy, those DVDs you've got, they're going to be outdated soon. It's like, oh, okay. Just we're already going there, and being digital. So it's a lot of input, and I did want just to bring up one point because you captured my attention on this too. You are a wealth of information, young lady, about the estrogens in our environment.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do to us. And there again, you have the knowledge and the expertise with this, and people don't know until they do. So I would love for you to address that before we end the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. I think that that's huge. So estrogens in our environment are called xenoestrogens, but it's spelled with an X. I don't know who came up with that instead of a Z. So you can look up xeno estrogens, and you'll get a whole list online. And what we're finding is that they really lie in our pesticide food. You're not buying organic. In our laundry detergents, makeup, shampoo, lotions. It's amazing how much we're infiltrating our body with these fake estrogens. And what they do is they bind to our real estrogen, and they basically attach to it and make the real estrogen not work anymore. It takes it over. And this is where breast cancer comes from. Endometriosis, prostate cancer, men with breast cancer, being overweight, water retention. There's so many different things that are linked into that, and we just don't realize it. We're getting it from our meats. We're getting it from our milk because the animals are treated with hormones. This is a real issue. But on top of that, women are being prescribed hormones. On top of their already environmentally full estrogen issues. So they'll get the pill or the patch and they won't react well because they're already estrogen dominant. Their body's already overwhelmed with this chemical and they don't even realize it. So women are starting to more and more reject. Their bodies are literally physically rejecting these hormone alternatives. It's quite an epidemic.
Wow. That's scary. That's scary. I know that you have a gift for our audience. You have a free gift for our audience. You want to tell us a little bit about it, and we'll tell people how to go get it?
Sure, absolutely. So all of your listeners and viewers are going to be able to get a free download of my Victory Code book. So that will be included in the page that we'll be giving the link to, as well as they'll be getting hot health tips that I'll send. So it'll be ongoing education that they can get into their inbox each day.
That's very, very cool. I will be going there right after this interview and getting mine. I'm actually already thinking I need to make an appointment with you. I need to come see you, and you're close enough that I can go do that. So, because, it's funny.
Great Nancy to meet you.
Well, it's interesting because Nancy and I both have been, not well. We've been, getting sick quite a bit. And I'm starting to think, after listening to you, this is, in addition to everything else that's going on, I probably would benefit, and I'm sure our listeners would benefit from doing something like this to find out what we're putting into our body that is either bad or good for us, depending on our own bodies. It's fascinating. This is a fascinating subject. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us before we say goodbye? There's been so much information here. I'm exploding.
Just wanted to thank both you and Nancy for having me on today. As you can tell, nutrition is very broad, and it's important to have someone by your side that you can bounce questions off of. That's a resource, and that's what I like to be for people. It's just amazing how many people need answers. They just need to ask, and they need a resource. I hope that I am that to you, so I want to offer that to the listeners. And also, I believe in you. I believe in the listeners and the audience. We oftentimes feel like we're doing this whole health thing by ourselves, and these imbalances creep up, and we start freaking out because we don't know what to do. But there are answers, and there is support. So reach out to me.
Well, you are and I love saying this, but a plethora of information for people, and I cannot emphasize enough how and invite people to connect with you. I've learned, in addition, I just had an hour-long consult to talk about my cholesterol. I mean, I've got this notebook of information, but it's fascinating, and I share that only because I'm getting more proactive. And Karen was right; I was getting more, colds and ear infections. Like, what's going on? So we're getting to the root of these issues, and I intend to conquer them. But I know that I don't need to do it alone, and so that's where you step in, and I look forward to connecting with you as well. So wishing you continued tremendous success. Karen and I will do our very best to keep sharing you with our friends, and great success to you with your new book. That'll be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Well,
thank you so much.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. We know that we all lead very, very busy lives, and we want to thank our listeners and our viewers because we know that you have a choice as to where you spend your time, and we are so grateful that you chose to spend it with us today. So as always, we wish you a great rest of the day, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of Connecting People, Changing Lives. Goodbye, everyone.